Good morning, everyone. I'm in my kitchen today and I'm working on a couple of things. I made some spaghetti sauce earlier and it's just sitting over there sauteing a little bit and getting the flavors immersed into the meat. And also I'm doing some chicken and dumplings. I'm cooking the chicken right now and I'll make the dumplings shortly. But in the meantime, I'm working on some banana nut bread. We had some bananas that we needed to process and do something with. So in the meantime, I have my mixer over here, and I've already put most of the ingredients in my mixing bowl. And I'll just give you a little bit. Everybody makes banana nut bread, no matter who you are, but this recipe I found on the Pillsbury flour because I was going to make it and I thought, wow, let me try this recipe this time. Anyway, I've got the pan ready. It's already sprayed, ready to go. I've got in my mixing bowl. I love this mixing bowl. Had it for years. I put 2 cups of all-purpose, of course, Pillsbury flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of sugar, which is a lot of sugar, so I cut it down just a little bit. 1/2 cup of softened margarine or butter, 2 eggs, which I'm getting ready to put them in a minute, 1 cup of mashed ripe bananas, 1/3 cup of milk, which I've got my milk ready to go, and then a little bit of vanilla extract. It calls for 1 teaspoon, but I put a little bit more, and I put some cinnamon in mine because I like cinnamon. And then, of course, if you want walnuts or pecans in there. But I'm going to go ahead and mix up everything except my egg and my milk in my mix here on my bowl. I don't know if you can see it or not. You can hear it, I know that. Basically what I'm doing is incorporating the butter into all of the dry ingredients before I put my wet ingredients in here. And I'm using my hand mixer today because it's not that hard to just mix up a little bit of banana bread with this. I usually use my KitchenAid, but this works really well. To incorporate all this a little bit better, I will have to go ahead and put my milk and eggs in. Calls for 2 eggs and then 1/3 cup of milk. So I'm going to go ahead and put my milk in there and get my eggs ready. Okay. I'll show you real quick over here at the kitchen, at the stove. I'm working on several things. This is going to be my chicken and dumplings, and I've got spaghetti noodles, and that is the spaghetti sauce that we're getting all ready. I like to cook usually 1 day a week and make enough food for, put some in the freezer, and then we eat off of it through the week. Wash the egg off my hands. All right, we'll mix the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients, and then I'll add my pecans. And that's mixed up really quickly. All I got to do now is I'll hand mix in the pecans. You don't have to put the mixer. Okay. That little mixer. It's kind of funny. My husband and I joke about this all the time. I had one hand mixer for probably 30 years, but that was my second mixer. My first mixer I had, and my friend wanted to make some cookies, so she didn't have a hand mixer, and she needed mine. And so I loaned it to her, and what was so funny, when she brought it back, it had blown up because the cookie batter that she was using was so thick that it blew up my mixer, so I had to get another mixer. And I think that second mixer I had for about 30 years, and it bit the dust after 30 years. And this one I've only had, probably about 5 or 6 years. And I really do like it. All right, I'm gonna incorporate these pecans here into the batter. I usually buy the pecans in the house. I can get them a little less expensive. And then if you buy them already chopped, and I chop them myself with I use the handle of a knife and break them up. All right, look how pretty that is. It's a beautiful batter. So, and I'm gonna put it in the pan, and it says to bake for on 350 degrees. You bake it for 55 to 60 minutes. And we're gonna have a little bit of spaghetti shortly, and we'll probably have maybe a piece of this banana bread later. Okay, that's what's going on in my kitchen today, and I'll show you all the final products when we get finished with them. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I finished the bread, got it all cooking. It's about done, but I went ahead and we had lunch. We had spaghetti. I'll send a picture of that, how that turned out. But I'm taking most of my spaghetti sauce, and I will freeze some of it, and then I will have probably some left in the refrigerator for whatever we decide to fix out of it. Spaghetti sauce is something you can use for chili, you can use it for tacos, you can use it for, spaghetti, lasagna, and all kinds of goodies. So I've got all that ready, and I'm getting ready to put most of it in the freezer. But right now, I'm getting ready to do my dumplings. Now, I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour in this bowl, and I've got almost 2 cups, maybe a cup and 2/3 to a cup and a half of the self-rising flour. And you make a well in the center that I've done here. I made this little well. And then I will take my measuring cup over to the sauce, and I will get about, I'm gonna start with 1.5 cups, and then we'll go from there to see how much we need. Okay, so I have right here about a cup and a third of the broth that I mixed up. I cooked my chicken, and I've got chicken broth, and I put a can of cream of chicken in it to give it a little different flavor. And then I'm gonna add this to the well into my flour and start mixing it. And I will put all this in here. You just have to guess at it, really. It's not an exact. And I'll get a fork. I like my large fork doing things like this to get it started. I've got my largest fork here, my serving fork. And you just have to do this and mix it up and see if you've got a ball out of your flour. And I don't, I just have clumps right now. So I know it's gonna take some more broth just looking at this. It's kind of clumpy, which is good, because that means it's starting to do what I want it to do. All right, let me get a little bit more of the broth, and I'll add it a little bit at a time. All right, I've got about 2/3 cup of broth, and I'm gonna pour that in, just a little bit at a time. You don't want it to get, you don't want it to be runny or anything. You want to be able to roll it out into your dumplings until you get a good crust like in your bowl. And then we'll roll it out into strips and cut our strips. Okay, I put about, I guess it was a third. I'm gonna put the rest of the third in here and see how we do. It's getting there, it really is. The broth gives the dumplings added flavor to the dumplings, which should really enhance your chicken and dumplings. So when I get these all rolled out, we'll drop them into the broth with the chicken in there. All right, I'll be back when I get them ready to roll. Okay, I'm getting my mat ready to roll out my dumplings. That's the consistency that we were going for, so it looks like they're pretty good. So you want your flour right here, and I'm gonna move a little bit of this flour to the side for us. Okay, so I moved a little bit of this flour to the side because you want some on your little, I used to have a Tupperware mat, but this mat, I don't remember where I found it, but my Tupperware mat, when we moved, I don't know what happened to it, and it was really old anyway and cracked and stuff. So, all right, so I'm getting my dumplings all rolled up into like a pie crust, really. Like a ball, like a pie crust ball. And then you put a little bit of the flour on it, like Grandma used to do, my grandmother, and Rodney's mom. Rodney's mother made the best dumplings, but she would roll those things out at night. On Saturday night, her kitchen table would have the dumplings on the table, and she'd get up the next morning. I don't know what time she got up, but it was early. I know that. I know we would hear about 5 o'clock, but I think she got up before that. And she would roll out those dumplings. And when we got back from church, we would have the best chicken and dumplings and cake and whatever else she would make, some green beans and whatever. Okay, I'm going to break this. You see how it kind of looks? I'm going to break it in half. It's easier to work half the dough because it does make a lot of dough. I'll set that one over there and we'll work on this one. And we want to get our rolling pin out. That's my pantry behind me back here. It is a blessing to have that pantry. I love my pantry. I had a small closet pantry most of my life, and one house we didn't have anything but a cabinet to put stuff in, so I really do like that. So hold on for just a minute and I will get my rolling pin. I'll have to wash my hands though. All right, I washed my hands. I didn't want to stay gone long, but if you'll hold on just a minute, I'll get my rolling pin. Okay, have my rolling pin, handy dandy. We'll put some flour on it. Always flour your rolling pin too. And we're gonna roll these out to about 1/4 of an inch thick. Let me put the phone down so you can see what I'm doing. I put down some parchment paper under here too, so that I knew this would roll off of it a little bit because it's such a small mat. I'm gonna have to invest in another. They're hard to find though. Set that dough right there. These things are really hard to find. So I'm gonna have to shop for one, probably online somewhere. Okay, I don't know. Let's put some of that flour out of our way. Now, everybody always takes their rings off when they're doing this. I'll just have to clean mine because that's what I have to do. All right, now let's see. We got them rolled out, and I will get a knife and we'll cut them into sizes that we want to put into our dumplings. Okay. And I'm going to lay them on a paper plate. So that I can get them into my dumplings. All right, so you just start cutting them the size that you think you would like. All right, and then you cut them across this way. Cut them this way. You can make them any size that you want. They don't have to be perfect. Of course, Miss Ratchford seemed to be perfect every time. She had a different method and a different recipe than this. But you know, back then, I was so young, I thought I wasn't interested in learning how to do something that took so long. But now I don't mind it. Okay, look at that. Look at this. Isn't that a perfect dumpling? All right. You can buy dumplings at the store, but they're not nearly as good as homemade dumplings. So what I'm going to show y'all now, I'm going to try to hold the phone over at my pot of where I'm going to put these in. Now you want your broth that you've had cooking with your chicken. You really want it to be bubbling before you start dropping your dumplings in it. You know, I have used for years, I use the homemade biscuit dough and make dumplings, like Bisquick or some things like that. And Annie's dumplings and all of that, but these are really much better dumplings. All right, so just for my video, we'll leave these, but we're going to go over and drop the dumplings into the pot. Okay, here are all of our dumplings dropped into the chicken and the broth, and I'm boiling them and they'll be done shortly. I don't know how much that you were able to get off of the video because my husband was trying to help me and somehow it got put on portrait. But anyway, what a mess. I'm going to clean up this mess right here, and I've got all the dumplings in and cooking like I said, and we will get back with you and we'll clean up my mess and we'll get back on our final product. I took a picture of the banana nut bread and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, the dumplings are ready, and you have to remember to stir these things so that the dumplings don't stick in the bottom. And I dipped out just a little bit. I just had lunch, so I'm not gonna sample, but just a taste. And then our final banana nut bread, I'll cut that and we'll have a slice of that and let you know how good it was. Okay, banana nut bread, cut us a slice. We'll taste it momentarily. And I believe that's going to conclude our video. Thank y'all for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed Gigi's morning cooking. I'm trying to get it all in before the 3 to 6 peak time. So we've been busy today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.